So we've got a trailing wind coming into the markets, coming out of China on the back of optimism around a trade deal. It is a heavy week for macro. ECB meeting obviously we'll focus on, and the MPC meeting in China, which we'll get to in just a moment. Why are we going up on markets?
Yeah, we are seeing quite an interesting change. No, on one side, we are seeing that markets are getting used to the idea that this is a slowdown, but not a massive recession or a global recession or a crisis. No, the second is obviously liquidity. Central banks have changed the tone. Chinese central bank, ECB, the Fed, everybody's changing the tone, and therefore liquidity has gone up quite dramatically all over the world, and that obviously feeds into markets. However, macro data continues to worsen and continues to be extremely weak, and I think that these headlines like the trade deal or the comments from the different central banks cannot disguise the fact that the slowdown is evident and due to other factors, not just the trade war. And therefore, I think it's a good time to, with being prudently optimistic, take the foot off the pedal of the super cyclicals. Take the foot off the pedals of the stocks or the asset classes that are more driven towards an improvement in inflation, an improvement in growth that is quite unlikely to happen.
The trouble is, if we get a Teltro announcement this week from the ECB, that will only increase the momentum here, won't it, in terms of liquidity? And as we know, liquidity really floats all boats.
Exactly.
You can forget about the fundamentals for a while if there's plenty of cash around.
Completely, but fundamentals do matter. So you need to be aware that the market was relatively cheap at the end of the year, but it's gone to relatively expensive yet again. So you need to be aware of valuations. You need to be aware that those multiples have been expanding while earnings guidance has not improved. So you have to be cautious from that perspective. And obviously, we're all here to enjoy a little bit of momentum. That is fantastic, but you have sectors that are up 12% on the year, that in which earnings growth is expected to be less than single digit, if not flat. So you have to at least acknowledge that factor and not just get sucked into the liquidity vacuum, because that also fires back. It can be a boomerang afterwards.